In this lesson, we're going to be learning about variables and expression. Let's say I have a few letters. Let's say A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, etc. Any letters would be okay. But I want one of those numbers to represent a numerical value, like to represent a number. Let's say I want to let letter A represent number 2, but I want to translate this verbal expression into a mathematical expression. So it's going to be A is equals to 2. Or I can pick any letters right here, so we can say like X, letter X equals 2. Or you can pick any letters from here and set it equal to any uh, numbers. But in math class, in mathematics, we have a different name for these numbers. We call it variable. So variable is a placeholder for any value, or simply any letter represents a unknown value. So just like here we have x represent 2, we have a represent 2. So they are called variable. And in math, these three are commonly used, so just keep that in mind. Following that, let's recall that in previous lesson we learned about numerical value or numerical expression. It's a combination of numbers and operation. So let's say we have 10 right here, and we have 5, and we have a 2. There are three numbers. And we also have operations right here. So because it's a combination of numbers and operations, so we call it numerical expression. But since we learned about variable, what about this time? We have we have x, and we have y, and we have a z. They are variables. But can we call it numerical expression? No, because right here we have a number, we have a operation, which in this case is addition, and we also have another element, which a variable. So we cannot call it numerical expression, but we have to give a new name to them, so we call it algebraic expression. It simply means an expression that contains numbers and variables and operations. If one expression have these three elements, so we call it algebraic expression. So for this one, in this case, we have a number, we have variable, and we have a operation, which in this case is addition. So we call it algebraic expression. But for the second one, we have 4y. So 4y means 4 times y, or 4 dot y. They all represent multiplication. So in this case, we have a number, we have a variable, and we also have a number. Then we have a operation, which in this case is subtraction. So they are algebraic expression because we have numbers and variables and operations. No matter how many numbers or variables or operations, if they have these three elements, we just call them algebraic expression. And let's see this third one, z over 3. This bar here means division. And we can rewrite this form into z divided by 3. And let's see, we have a variable, we have a number, and we have operation, which in this case is division. So you have these three elements right here. So we call it algebraic expression. But why do we just have this algebraic expression, right? Our ultimate goal is to calculate something, to evaluate the expression. This is our ultimate goal. So let's see, here we have an example, and we have a algebraic expression here. So let me write that: x plus y minus 9. But how do we evaluate? Let's say we directly evaluate. Can we do that? The thing is, we cannot do that because we do know the x and y, what that represent. But luckily, we have this condition right here. We have x represent 15 and y represent 26. Why don't we just replace this variable with this 15 and replace y with this value 26, and then we can just calculate it. Why don't we do that? So let's say x represent 15, so it's 15, and y represent 26, it's 26, and then minus 9. Then we can calculate it because they are all numbers. But consider right here, is this numerical expression or algebraic expression? So let's find out. Here we have a variable, another variable, and we have operations here, and we have a number. So it's algebraic expression. But after we replace the value, we replace the variable x and variable y, it turns out this second expression will be different. So we have three numbers here and we have two operations. So we call a numerical expression. So we can evaluate this by following the order of operation. So always start from left. Then we check to see, is there a parenthesis? No. Is there like multiplication or division? No. We only have addition or subtraction here, so we just follow the order from left to right to evaluate. We don't have to do the multiplication or to evaluate things inside the parentheses first. So right here, we have 15 plus 26 equals 41 and minus 9. Then 41 minus 9 is 32. So for this process, we replace values. We have a specific name for this process. We call it substitution property of equality. It means if two quantities are equal, then one quantity can be replaced by the other. So translated into human language, which means if we have a number or a variable and we set it equal to one number or variable, we can replace one of the quantity or one of the variable with or by the other number. So let me show you. But before that, the quantity means anything that can be measured or counted. So in this lesson, we just use numbers and variables to represent quantity. So let's say I have one quantity here, variable x, and set it equal to another quantity. So let me see, let's see, this is 3. So it means if we set these two quantity equals to each other, so one quantity or one variable can be replaced by the other quantity. So let's say I want to evaluate this algebraic expression 2x plus 1. So I can replace this variable y with this number right here. So let me clear that. Okay. Uh, so that will be 2 times 3 plus 1. And then follow the order of operation. Does it have a parenthesis? No. Does it have multiplication or uh, division? Yes. Then we have to do it first, and then do the operations like addition or subtraction. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then plus 1. Then 6 plus 1 is 7. Let's have a more practice for this concept. Let's say if we have k is 2, m is 7, and n is 4, evaluate the following expressions. So here is the algebraic expression 6m minus 3k. Because we have m equals 7 and k equals 2, so this condition is given. We can replace the value, we can replace variable m and variable k with these two values, and then we can follow the orders to calculate the results. So let's say 6 times 7 and minus 3 times 2, because k represents 2. Does it have parentheses? Even though we have a parenthesis right here, but it represents multiplication, so just keep that in mind. But if we have a parenthesis like 6 plus 3 times 2, then we gotta evaluate the elements inside the parenthesis. But in this case, we don't have that. Secondly, do we have multiplication or division? Yes, because 6 and this parenthesis means multiplication. Then we gotta do the multiplication first, and then we will do addition or subtraction. So 6 times 7 is 42, and then minus 3 times 2 is 6, and then 42 minus 6 is 36. For the second one, we have mn over 2. So m, it's 7, and variable n is 4. Why don't we just replace those values back into this expression? So let's do that. So m is 7, and n is 4. Then divided by or over 2. Then we gotta calculate things on the upper hand, and then we to calculate the rest of the thing. So let's say 7 times 4 is 28. And then divided by 2 or over 2. Because we can rewrite this expression into 28 divided by 2. So 2 times what number? 2 times one number gives us this 28. So that number will be 14. Then our last one, let's say we have k is 2, m is 7, and n is 4. We replace those values back into this algebraic expression. So that's gotta be, so n represent 4, then plus k represent 2, and 5 times m represent 7. Then we gotta follow the order of operation. Do we have parentheses? And inside the parentheses we have like 2 plus 5 times 7. So yes, we have. And do we have multiplication or division? Yes, because in this case, inside the parentheses, we have multiplication and addition. So we gotta do multiplication first. Then what is left, just addition or subtraction. So let's do that. Inside the parentheses, we're gonna do the multiplication first. So 5 times 7 is 35. And since we still have the parentheses, so we gotta evaluate the elements inside the parentheses first. So it's gonna be 4 plus, inside the parentheses we have 2 plus 35 is gonna be 37. And 4 plus 37 will be 41.